All right, we're going to be talking about my toolbox of poetry. Let's go. American copper sunset. Felt like they lasted forever, but blink of the butterfly's eye, and Oswego's back to egg. Unrecognizable. Kind of, I'm kind of mourning my college. It's gone off and it's changed and transformed, but not with me. 8 years is a long time, and I miss what was there, even if it'll never be again. Alright, but let's talk about the toolbox. And I'm thinking about Oswego because that's where I learned a lot of my toolbox and my skills. I have broken into my lenses and my terms. So, terms is pretty straightforward. Some people call it musicality. I'm a little nervous to use that because not all terms in music world are the same as terms for poetry. And so I just want to separate it. These are just my terms, but lenses is probably the more interesting one. I came with a background in literary criticism, so things like disability criticism, historical readings, biographical reader response, feminist theory. These are different lenses that I use to create poetry, but also how you can analyze poetry. Let's go into an activity. I call it the golden poem. And and there's only two rules for the kids at first. They don't know there's more rules coming. And it is to write a poem about a verb. They could be swimming, running, slept. It doesn't have to be present tense. And it could be anything, but they have to write it with 89 words. As many lines as they want, 89 words. And then, surprise, they have to switch lenses. Now, I said switch because you're probably already using one of those lenses unintentionally. Maybe one of my female students writes a story about running, but it's very much about running as a woman. Maybe she's in heels. So she's already telling it from her perspective, which is already feminist by default. But now I want her to switch lenses. Maybe she decides to tell the story from disability criticism or historical perspective. I'm not telling her which one. I'd have a whole list on the wall. And she doesn't have to get rid of anything specifically, but she does have to drop the word count down to 55. Every word matters. And then she needs to add a lens. So if she gave up on feminism, she could just put it back in. But it could be something completely different that occurred to her as she now has to crush it down, and all of my students crush it down to 34 words. Now, the question is, how does this connect to something like theater? Well, these can be performed. They can be put on stage because we've now given them multiple perspectives. In fact, those perspectives can inform a director. Alright, so we have multiple lenses looking at a poem, and as we've crushed it inwards, it's been forced to focus in on a few key ideas. So again, lenses are all the different types. Queer theory is in here, also the genre specifics. So if I look at a poem that's part of the Gothic tradition, I can frame it out to all Gothic. Or maybe the poem keeps referencing other pieces of literature. Well, then those references can help us. And those are different lenses too. And of course, terms, everything from rhyming to feet to alliteration. Perfect. And I hope everyone has a great day.